boxing skills are sublime. No doubt he's pound for pound one of the best on the planet Earth. Crawford is the real deal.
Well, Crawford can't beat no Canelo Alvarez. I beg to differ. He gonna smash Canelo Alvarez, man. I'm telling y'all right now.
Honestly, like, as of right now, I think Bud beats him. He's not gonna switch. There's nothing that's gonna change the way I feel.
Stephen A, Smith, and Max Kellerman point out a key weakness that could be disastrous for Canelo Alvarez in a potential clash with Terence Crawford. They insist Canelo may not be as dominant as his reputation suggests, while praising Crawford as the standout fighter of his era. Crawford's sharp precision, slick movement, and fluid boxing style, they argue, pose serious challenges for Canelo and could ultimately result in him being thoroughly outclassed and convincingly defeated.
In the ring with Terence Crawford, not too soon. Maybe you take a year off and then come back and work your way to the 154, 160 division, and Terence Crawford be there and y'all want to meet again. That's cool. That's cool. But you don't need to be going back in the ring with him this December. I know that much.
Stephen A. Smith emphasizes that Canelo Alvarez depends too much on his power punches, assuming sheer strength is enough to guarantee victory. He stresses this strategy won't work against Terence Crawford, a fighter who excels with skill, precision, and fluid movement. According to Smith, beating Crawford requires more than brute force, and Canelo's predictable reliance on heavy shots will ultimately collapse against Crawford's superior ring IQ and all.
You got a love for boxing.
Love
Who gonna
boxing.
win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest
Crawford.
fighter in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud,
Right.
it's like almost every shot has to be a power
It's a
shot.
power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally big and strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's got bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always ready.
always prepared.
He's always ready.
gotta
He's
get that.
always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab in movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster.
Max Kellerman offers a sharp analysis of the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford matchup, clearly separating skill from raw physicality. He highlights Crawford's jab as one of boxing's most effective tools today, allowing him to control distance and dictate the fight's rhythm. By contrast, Canelo's jab has noticeably declined, forcing him to lean more on power and counterpunching. Kellerman argues that Crawford's precision, timing, and tactical brilliance could easily neutralize Canelo's size advantage, showing that adaptability and refined skill often triumph over brute strength.
Crawford. Best defense. Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring. But, early in his career, he had a problem with that. and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him.
Timothy Bradley Jr. draws a striking parallel between the doubts Muhammad Ali once faced and the skepticism currently aimed at Terence Crawford. He recalls how critics insisted Ali could never overcome George Foreman's sheer size and power. Yet Ali triumphed through strategy, resilience, and intelligence. Bradley sees the same storyline emerging with Crawford, as many argue he cannot defeat Canelo Alvarez due to the size difference. However, Bradley firmly believes greatness is never defined by physical stature, but by skill, preparation, and determination. He stresses that Crawford has dedicated an entire year of training to prepare specifically for Canelo, demonstrating unwavering commitment to proving doubters wrong, just as Ali once did.
They said Ali couldn't beat George Foreman. Yep. They said that Jack Dempsey couldn't beat Jess Willard. Yeah. 6'6", Jess Willard, 250 plus pounds. Little old Jack Dempsey knocked him out. Yeah, they said Terence Crawford can't beat no Canelo Alvarez. I beg to differ. He gonna smash Canelo Alvarez, man. I'm telling y'all right now. He gonna smash Canelo Alvarez. It's not gonna be a fair fight. I promise you that. It's not gonna be a fair fight. Because the minute he get acclimated to that punching power, it's gonna be over for Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, that wide swinging left hook, them big looping right hands. Oh, he can straighten that right hand. You don't think they're gonna be ready for that? Crawford and his team are the best in the business. Yeah, best in the business. Crawford has trained for this for an entire year. 1 year for one man. Thinking about him every day when he's out there grinding, watching video, studying film. Yeah, everybody talking about the weight. Ooh, the weight, he's too heavy. Tim, who's weight classes for a reason and all of this crap. Man, you think people think greatness is just built on just being comfortable? Greatness is built on being uncomfortable. Yeah, before we even landed on the moon, it was an idea, right? It was an idea. And they brought it to life. We landed on the moon. I know there's some conspiracy theories out there saying that we didn't land on the moon, but you know what the hell I'm talking about. You get it? Yeah, we talking about size. Like size is everything. What about skill? What about mentality?
Bernie the boxer firmly rejects the notion that Terence Crawford is undersized for this fight. He argues that Crawford's frame and physical presence have long been underestimated. Yet his successful performances in higher weight divisions prove otherwise. Bernie stresses that Crawford isn't simply a smaller man recklessly moving up. Instead, he's calculated, intelligent, and fully prepared to handle larger opponents. In his view, the true deciding factor won't be sheer size, but the ability to think, adapt, and outmaneuver in the ring. He highlights that Crawford and his team take pride in being smarter and more strategic than Canelo's camp, a sharpness that could ultimately swing the fight in Crawford.
Crawford, you've seen him in the gym, but have you seen the best Crawford under the lights, you think?
When they say the best Crawford, I don't know. I like all Crawfords. How you do? You know, that's what makes him a dynamic champion. You know what I'm saying? The best Crawford is what it takes to win. You know what I mean? Now, some fights are more interesting than others. As far as, like I say, the fight with Klimov was kind of a slow fight. You know, and maybe the Madrimov was a slow fight. Benavidez was kind of a slow fight until he knocked him out. But he was doing a lot of great things there. So, buzz fights, they're always exciting. You never know what's going to happen in those fights. So, the best Crawford he's always at his best.
PHX Patriot, thank you for the $2. Get the likes up. BMB, best in the biz. Something when Bud walked Canelo down. No way he's too small. Fire. Let's go, Crawford.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of people do say that A lot of people are saying that they don't think that the walking down situation will happen because of the wrestling background, the grapplings, the tactics, you know, the balance and stuff like that. Stuff that Bud knows how to do because of his, you know, wrestling background. What would you say?
Man, I don't know nothing about no wrestling background. I mean, he did wrestle for, but he was not no national champion wrestler. He was not no real high school wrestler where he was wrestling all his years in high school. He wrestled. The man is just a freak of nature. He's an athlete. You understand? That's what it is. So his specialty is boxing. Okay, now he's strong as an ox. That's where his shit coming from. So they're not wrestling. It's not gonna be no fucking wrestling. Feel me? He doing strength and conditioning training. He's strong as an ox, like we already know that. His hands is like baseball mitts.
Canelo Alvarez has entered this matchup with notable humility and respect, openly recognizing Terence Crawford as a serious threat despite the natural size difference. In his own words, Canelo explains that at the sport's highest level, weight becomes less decisive, as elite fighters know how to adapt and compete effectively across divisions. His remarks make it clear he is not underestimating Crawford, nor viewing him as an easy opponent. Instead, he is preparing with complete focus and discipline, understanding that beating Crawford would demand more than relying on his trademark strength. Canelo's professionalism and awareness highlight his commitment to refining every aspect of his game, ensuring that fans will witness both men perform.
Because Terence is a smaller guy, and why do I need to fight this guy? For you, what changed? Tell me about the moment where you're like, you know what? Maybe I'll do this. This sounds like a good idea.
No, if you're thinking about it, look how big turns this fight. It's a big fight. No, that's why made me shame this. But you know, I've been in his situation before, jumping weight classes. When you're a good fighter, that doesn't matter. So I'm not gonna focus on that. I'm gonna focus on training very hard because Crawford is a very good fighter.
Yeah, tell me about your experience with that, because now it's reversed. He's coming up in weight. What could be dangerous? What aren't we seeing that maybe you see in this fight?
No, everything. He's a good fighter. Obviously, I know that I need to be careful in everything. So I see everything.
Shakur Stevenson has voiced complete confidence in Terence Crawford's ability to defeat Canelo Alvarez, basing his belief on what he has personally witnessed in training camps. Stevenson reveals that Crawford has been sparring with fighters equal to or even larger than Canelo and dominating those sessions. He emphasizes that while Canelo's chin has long been seen as one of his greatest strengths, it becomes irrelevant if he is repeatedly struck with sharp, accurate punches. Stevenson stresses that at the elite level, success isn't just about withstanding punishment, but about avoiding clean, damaging shots. With Crawford's precision and timing, Stevenson argues every punch carries real impact, proving Crawford has the tools to overcome.
Oh, honestly, like, as of right now, I think Bud to beat Canelo. He's not gonna switch. There's nothing that's gonna change in what I feel.
You've been feeling like that since day one. I think, but now nobody never thought about that fight because when you were saying nobody was thinking about that fight because now
they
you
thought I was
Crawford.
crazy.
Yeah,
They thought I was crazy.
I still think it's crazy though. For me, I still think it's crazy. But like you said, I'm not in the gym. I'm not in the
Yes,
gym.
you have to see him, man. The people he spars, everybody that Bud Crawford spars, is the same size as him. Like all these guys that he's sparring is bigger guys. He don't even like. He do spar with people his size sometimes, and sometimes they get in their knee. That's strictly for like skill. That's strictly to keep his skills, his hand speed, the IQ level up. But the people that Bud Crawford spars is like big ass dudes, and I'm watching what he can do in the ring and sparring. It's nothing that's gonna change come fight night. And I hear y'all saying the 16s and the 8s is different. I agree, but y'all gotta realize Bud got on 8s too.
And the chin also. I was got on chin, man.
Bud got on 8 ounces too. And you can have all the chin in the world. I don't give a fuck who the fuck you is. If you get punched by the right motherfucker, you gonna feel that shit.
But that's the thing. You got punched by the right motherfuckers in Triple G and Kovalev.
Okay. And you don't know if Bud gonna crack him with a cleaner shot.
Legendary commentator Jim Lampley offers a more cautious perspective, expressing concern that Terence Crawford may be too small to withstand Canelo Alvarez's natural advantages. While Lampley fully acknowledges Crawford's brilliance and technical mastery, he argues that size and strength remain decisive factors at the elite level. He points to Canelo's extensive experience competing against bigger fighters and his proven durability as challenges Crawford may struggle to overcome. Though he respects Crawford's skills, Lampley frames this matchup as an uphill battle, warning that no matter how precise Crawford is, the physical gap could be overwhelming. His measured viewpoint brings balance to the discussion, emphasizing the serious risks Crawford faces in taking this fight.
Conversations, I'm sure Jim will be hearing them abound. What do you think about the fight now that you just witnessed Canelo Alvarez again in the masterclass performance?
I love Terence Crawford, and I want him to have what he wants. But off of what I saw tonight and what I saw in Los Angeles last month, when Crawford was fighting Tremov, I am more than ever concerned that he's not big enough, and not big enough to be able to move around the ring and muscle Canelo in the way that he would have to ward off those really vicious inside power shots. I might have thought a few months ago that I would give Crawford a logical chance to win the fight. He is the most skilled pound-for-pound fighter in the world, but I just don't think he's big enough and strong enough to take on Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds. And so far, Crawford is 154-pound fighter. He's only been to 154 pounds once. Didn't get a knockout. So, I just don't see it at this moment. I think there is a very obvious assignment out there for Canelo Alvarez, and it isn't Terence Crawford at this moment.
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.